Hey, today we're going to look at the Square D motor starters and some of the notable differences. We'll look at some visual differences and some differences in the label, the amperage, the horsepower. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to look at the sizes we're talking about on Square D motor starters, and just going to pull the lid off of these. I've already loosened the screws, and we have three sizes here. This is a NEMA size 2, a size 3, and a size 4. So let's take the size 2 for instance, and if we look at this size 2, we'll notice right off the bat we've got horsepower ratings. We've also got voltage ratings. You can look in the manual and you can find out the amperage requirement or the amperage rating, but really for that you want to look at your full load amps on your motor nameplate data. So having that, then you can work backwards, then you'll know how to size your overload heaters. But the voltage here, real important. Say you're adding a new system or a new circuit, and you're going to put another motor, another line in, another motor starter. All of that sizing has to be done based on the full load amps of the motor, and there's a percentage tolerance there as well. So on this nameplate, for instance, we can go all the way up to a 600 volt class, which is the low voltage class in testing, but you can go down to 200 volts, or what would be 230, and you have a horsepower rating of 15 horsepower at that 230 volts. Or you can step up to 480 volt and run it at 25 horsepower. So there is an inverse correlation between voltage and horsepower. So right off the bat, you have to know your voltage, you have to know the information of the motor. So now we work towards the middle, and that's where you would size your cable, and then you would take these guys, pull one out for you. These, most of you know, these are your overload heaters. These overload heaters will have a little stamped in number right here, and that's going to give you the overload protection on the outgoing cables that go out to physically to your motor. So that's a size 2. All of them have the same characteristics as far as, like here's a size 3 again. You've got voltage and you've got horsepower. So you've got to again check those, but as we step up in physical size, we're stepping up in those horsepower and horsepower and amperage ratings. But the size 4, let's compare the size 3 and the size 4 together for just a second. One of the visual difference, or a couple of visual differences. One of them, you look at a size 2, physically you can see that these guys are a lot smaller. This size 2 is a lot smaller than the 3 and 4. But when you get to the 3 and 4, you'll see they're kind of close. But you'll see that this one, the body's a little longer on this. Another quick visual, I'll just set this guy off. You see the output, the load size copper that comes out of the head of the starter. You can see how it's kind of notched and offset. There's less surface area, so it's more narrow than the size 4. Stand that one up there where we can see it. The size 4 is wide. It's got more surface area. Higher amps can go through that bad boy, so you can make sure, say your label was messed up and you couldn't tell, you know, by looking at the label, is that a 3 or a 4? Physically, they're kind of close, but you can see the copper difference, so that's another quick way to say, hey, different size. So, something we want to pay close attention to as well as we get a little further into the service is the rest of your data. Your amperage, I can't give you that right off the cuff, but if you go to your manual or you go to your Schneider, your Square D website, you can size your heaters for that. So, we're going to jump right in and also get a little bit deeper into an upcoming video about changing out coils, inspecting our contacts inside the body to be able to do a maintenance area there. So stay tuned for that, coming up real soon.